Lieutenant Arya Ven stood at the edge of the training arena, her datapad forgotten in her hand as she watched the Krynoth cubs tear through their combat simulation. The young predators moved with a ferocity that would have terrified most species in the Galactic Coalition, their scaled bodies rippling with corded muscle as they hunted holographic prey across the rocky terrain. She had been assigned to the Krynoth military creche 3 months ago, a decision that had sparked heated debates among the Coalition's high command. Humans were still the newcomers, the strange bipedal mammals who had somehow clawed their way up from a death world and demanded a seat at the table. Assigning one to train the galaxy's apex predators seemed like madness. Yet here she was, and somehow it was working. Arya stifled a yawn, rolling her shoulders to ease the tension from standing for hours. The day had stretched long, and the weight of observation was exhausting. She'd been up since 0400 hours, overseeing not just the cubs' training but also mediating a dispute between 2 adult Krynoth warriors who couldn't agree on hunting formations. Her coffee had run out around noon, and the station's cafeteria served nothing remotely similar to the bitter, life-giving brew she craved. The yawn escaped despite her best efforts, her jaw stretching wide as her eyes squeezed shut for just a moment. When she opened them, the entire arena had gone silent. Tarek, the eldest of the cubs and easily twice her mass, stood frozen mid-pounce. His amber eyes were locked on her, his predatory focus absolute. Behind him, the other 5 cubs had stopped as well, their heads swiveling toward her in perfect synchronization. Arya's hand moved instinctively toward the neural disruptor at her hip, but she forced herself to stillness. Show no fear. Never show fear. Then Tarek did something unexpected. His jaw stretched open, revealing rows of serrated teeth designed to rend and tear. The deep rumbling sound that emerged wasn't a growl. It was a yawn, perfect in its mimicry of her own. One by one, the other cubs followed. Their yawns rippled through the group like a wave, each one settling onto the arena floor with surprising gentleness. Within seconds, all 6 young predators had curled into resting positions, their eyes half-lidded and bodies relaxed. Arya blinked. What just happened? She glanced at her datapad, checking the time. They were supposed to train for another hour, pushing through endurance drills that would prepare them for extended hunts. The cubs had never stopped early before. If anything, the Krynoth had to be forced to rest, their warrior culture viewing exhaustion as weakness. Lieutenant Ven. The voice crackled through her comm unit, tinged with the clicking undertones of Krynoth speech. It was Commander Thesic, the cub's primary guardian and a warrior of fearsome reputation. What did you do? I yawned, sir. Silence stretched across the comm line. Arya could picture the massive Krynoth's confusion, his 4 eyes narrowing as he processed her words. Explain. I was tired, so I yawned. Then Tarek yawned. Then they all yawned and laid down to rest. More silence. Then, meet me in Observation Hall 7 immediately. The walk through the station's corridors felt longer than usual. Arya's mind raced through possibilities, none of them good. Had she violated some cultural taboo? Were yawns an insult among the Krynoth? She'd studied their customs extensively, but human xenoanthropologists were still discovering new nuances every day. Commander Thesic stood in the observation hall, his imposing form silhouetted against the viewport that showed the training arena below. The cubs remained in their resting positions, occasionally shifting but showing no signs of resuming their exercises. Do you understand what you have done, Lieutenant? Thesic's voice was unreadable, his translator rendering his words in flat, emotionless tones. No, sir. I apologize if I've caused offense. The commander turned, his scaled face inscrutable to human eyes. But then something shifted. The subtle parting of his mouth that Arya had learned indicated amusement. Offense? No, Lieutenant. You have achieved something remarkable. He gestured toward the cubs with one clawed hand. Among our kind, the pack leader signals when it is time to rest. It is a posture, a pheromone signature, a dozen subtle cues that communicate authority and permission to lower one's guard. Our cubs are trained from hatching to recognize these signals. Arya's eyes widened. But you are not Krynoth, no. Yet somehow your yawn triggered the same response. Thesic moved closer, his massive form towering over her. For 3 months we have watched you train our young. You do not hunt as we hunt. You do not fight as we fight. Yet they respect you. They listen to you in ways they do not listen to our own trainers. He paused, and Arya could have sworn she detected pride in his posture. We have studied your species since you joined the coalition. Your persistence, your adaptability, your strange ability to bond with creatures that should be your enemies. We thought we understood." He gestured toward the resting cubs again. "But this is different. You did not command them to rest. You simply showed vulnerability, tiredness, and they followed because they trust you enough to lower their guard when you lower yours." The weight of his words settled over Arya like a blanket. She looked down at the cubs, at Tarek's massive form rising and falling with steady breaths, and something clicked in her understanding. Humans had spent millennia domesticating wolves, turning apex predators into loyal companions through patience, trust, and mutual respect. They'd done the same with cats, horses, even birds of prey. It wasn't domination. It was partnership built on emotional connection. "Among my people," Arya said quietly, "we have a saying. You can't command loyalty. You can only earn it." Thesic made a sound deep in his throat, somewhere between a growl and a laugh. "Your people are strange, Lieutenant Ven, but perhaps that strangeness is exactly what the galaxy needs." Below, Tarek stirred, his eyes opening to focus on the observation window. Even from this distance, Arya could feel his gaze on her. She raised one hand in a small wave. The young predator's tail swished once, a gesture she'd learned meant contentment, before he settled back into rest. Commander Thesic moved toward the exit, pausing at the doorway. "They will wake in an hour, refreshed and ready to train twice as hard. Sometimes, Lieutenant, strength comes not from pushing forward but from knowing when to rest. It seems you have taught them that lesson without even trying." As the door closed behind him, Arya turned back to the viewport. 6 sleeping predators, each one capable of tearing her apart, rested peacefully because she had yawned. She smiled, allowing herself another yawn. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons to teach and learn. But today she had earned something precious, the trust of creatures who gave it to very few. And maybe, just maybe, that was the most human thing of all.